We're going to add CORS support to our Web API. First things first, go into NuGet and find the Microsoft ASP.NET Cross-Origin Support NuGet package and add it to our Web API project. I've already done that. For Web API projects, startup.cs calls the Web API configs register method in order to set up Web API. This is where you'd set up other pipeline interceptors and so on, and this is where we're going to set up CORS. Couple things, we need to put a using system.web.http.cors as a reference, and secondly, we have to set up enabling CORS in the pipeline before we set up any attribute routes. CORS is enabled by calling config.enableCORS and passing in an enable CORS attribute that sets up a general purpose policy for all the Web API controllers that are in your solution. Here, I've set up any origin, any header, but restricted the methods to just get and post. Parenthetically, invisibly, options is also enabled, otherwise CORS doesn't work, but you don't have to put it in the list explicitly. Here we are in a little API controller, customer controller, which I'm using for the demo. You can see that I've exposed two variations of the same customer list class. One with an enable CORS attribute of any origin, any header, and the method get, which corresponds to the HTTP GET attribute that I put on my action method. And another called Customers Limited that I've restricted to just be from localhost for the purposes of demonstration. And lastly, each one of them has a unique route so we can get to them from our sample test page. Let's take a look at that. Here's our test page and two little snippets of JavaScript that use the jQuery AJAX method to make a call and then paint the results onto the HTML. The only difference in these two methods is that in one case we're calling the limited method and in the other case we're calling the customers method. Otherwise, they're pretty much identical. Let's see what happens after we deploy this website into production. In this case, I'm using Azure, but it would work pretty much no matter where else we did it, and then try to invoke this page against the remote server. Parenthetically, CORS can be very hard to test from inside Visual Studio against localhost, and it's always good to do a deployment to a test area and confirm that your CORS is configured and working as desired. Here's our remote test page that's executed. And in the first case, we've called our customers method and gotten back a little list of customers. In the second case, in the not allowed case, we have gotten an error. Here we are in the developer tools looking at the exception we got. And as expected, when calling the remote site against the limited version of our customers method, we get a CORS error as expected, thus proving that our CORS is working correctly. We're going to use Telerik's excellent Fiddler 2 web debugger, which I think is an indispensable tool for any serious developer, and a trick from Tim Jones about how to force CORS. Okay, we're going to force CORS and then call options on our customers method and see what we get back. And what you can see is we get access control or CORS headers that describe what the rules are that we've set up on our attribute on our method.